I cheated on my fiancée and got my friend pregnant. My heartbreaking confession. Hello everyone. My name is Lucas. I'm 32 years old, and I've carried this secret for far too long. It's time to come clean. This is something that haunts me every day and has altered the course of my life in ways I never anticipated. 2 years ago, when I was 30, I was happily engaged to the love of my life, Barbara, who was 28 at the time. We had been together for 5 years, and our wedding was just a few months away. Everything was perfect. Our families got along well, and we had our dream venue booked. One evening, I went out with some friends to celebrate my upcoming nuptials. It was meant to be a harmless night of fun, but things took a dark turn. At the bar, I ran into Sarah, an old friend from college who was 29. We caught up over drinks, reminiscing about the good old days. One drink led to another, and before I knew it, we were both heavily intoxicated. When the bar closed, we decided to share a cab home. Instead of dropping her off first, we went to my apartment. What happened next was a blur of poor decisions and alcohol-fueled actions. I woke up the next morning, horrified to find Sarah in my bed. Panic set in as I realized what had happened. I had cheated on Barbara. Guilt and shame washed over me, but I convinced myself that it was a one-time mistake, something that would never happen again. Sarah left without much conversation, and we both agreed to never speak of it. For weeks, I lived in a state of denial and guilt. Barbara was busy with wedding preparations, and I tried to push the incident out of my mind, telling myself that it was a mistake I could forget. But deep down, the guilt gnawed at me, growing more intense as the wedding day approached. 1 month before the wedding, Sarah called me in tears. She confessed that she was pregnant and was certain that I was the father. My world shattered in that instant. I couldn't believe the enormity of the situation. She didn't know what to do, and neither did I. We discussed the possibility of her raising the child alone, but it felt wrong to abandon her and my potential child. I was at a crossroads. On one hand, I had Barbara, the woman I loved and was about to marry. On the other hand, there was Sarah and the unborn child who needed my support. The weight of my actions came crashing down, and I knew I couldn't keep it a secret any longer. I decided to tell Barbara the truth, no matter how much it would hurt her. One evening, I sat her down and confessed everything: the drunken mistake, Sarah's pregnancy, and my overwhelming guilt. I watched as her face contorted in pain and disbelief. She cried, screamed, and ultimately left. Needing time to process the betrayal, our families were devastated. The wedding was called off, and I was left alone to pick up the pieces of my shattered life. Barbara moved out, and we went our separate ways. Sarah and I decided to co-parent the child, but our relationship was strained and awkward, built on the foundation of a mistake. Over the next year, I tried to make amends with Barbara. I attended therapy to understand why I had made such a reckless decision and to become a better person. I stayed involved in Sarah's pregnancy, supporting her and preparing for the arrival of the baby. When our son, Jake, was born, my life changed once again. Holding him for the first time filled me with a sense of responsibility and determination to be a good father. Barbara and I stayed in touch sporadically, and over time, she saw the efforts I was making to change. While she couldn't forgive me completely, she appreciated the steps I was taking to be a responsible father and to atone for my mistakes. It's been 2 years since that fateful night, and my life is a complicated blend of regret and redemption. Barbara is now 30, and we remain friends, though our romantic relationship is over. I co-parent Jake with Sarah, who is 31, striving to be the best father I can be despite the circumstances of his conception. I've learned to live with my guilt, using it as a constant reminder of the consequences of my actions. I share this story not for sympathy, but as a cautionary tale. Mistakes can have far-reaching effects, altering lives in ways you never expect. If my story can prevent just one person from making a similar mistake, then perhaps some good can come from my confession. Thank you for listening.